Thank you for being here. We very much appreciate it. We're excited about this evening. We wanted to have a small, intimate group that could interchange, interact, connect with one another, and we hope that we provide the opportunity tonight for you to do that. My name is Susan Dawson. I am with E3 Alliance. Education equals economics, and that's kind of the overarching theme of what we're going to be talking about tonight with workforce development and the integration of education and opportunities to prepare students for the world of work and the industry and the growth that we have here in Central Texas region. And we're excited to do that, and we're excited because we rolled out a slightly new brand of our Education Equals Economics, which meant I got an excuse to get a new pair of custom boots. So tonight we're going to have a very short program. We're going to be talking about some opportunities that some of you may be familiar with, some others that many of you may not be familiar with, but the intent is to spark your imagination, to spark your thoughts about opportunities of ways to work together, to strengthen Central Texas and the community and the economy that we love here, and to provide our students opportunities to be part of that growing future. So I want you to think about three things especially that we're going to consider today when we're talking about these opportunities and innovations and work that's going on in the education workforce space. First is rapid. Rapid. Those of you who are employers are looking for a workforce that can fulfill your needs now, next week, next month, next 5 years. How do we produce that in a way that gets students the opportunity to be part of our growing workforce quickly? Second is integrated. This needs to be something that's not educators filling something that they think is different than industry filling something that they think is, but how do we work together? How do we define and design the concepts that will allow students to succeed in the workforce that we want to build here in Central Texas? And the third, although you won't hear as much of this, but I hope that you'll be able to talk to people around here, is stackable. I use the term stackable to say we're not here about a single terminal credential. Become a welder, you're a welder. We're here to say, what is it that gives you as a student passion and opportunity and that you can build on and that you can start perhaps here at ACC and go perhaps to Texas State or Concordia or wherever it is that you want to be to get the credentials that you want to have to move forward in the industry so that our population is also better suited to the industry needs that are out there. So, rapid, integrated, stackable. That's what we're going to talk about. We've got two excellent guests who are going to be providing their perspectives. The first is Dr. Monique Umphrey, who is the provost of Texas State University. Texas State, ACC. Been here just about a year?
1 year, over 1 year.
1 year.
A year and a day.
So tell us a little bit about you, Monique.
Let's see, the fun stuff. I'm a nerd. I started my career as a software developer. I spent 14 years as a software developer. Then I led software projects, and along the way I had the joy of teaching as an adjunct. I started at Volunteer State Community College in Nashville, Tennessee, and fell in love with my students and changed my whole trajectory. Went back to work on my doctorate, and I'm here. So that's the Reader's Digest version, but I really love the opportunity to be able to work. I was having fun talking with our scholar here and learning about her dreams and desires, but the thing that gets me excited is being able to be a part of systemic change, removing barriers for our students and really opening those pathways where they can fulfill their academic and career goals. So that gets me excited.
Excellent. And so our second guest is Zarka Fatima. She is a senior at Navarro High School, and one of the many opportunities that we're going to talk about that allows students to accelerate that path towards workforce credentials that she'll need to succeed. Zarka is right in the dead middle of about to graduate. So tell us a little more about you and your experiences.
So I'm a part of PTech, which is known as Pathways in Technology. It's a dual credit program that allows students to earn an associate's degree in a specific field alongside their associate's degree and have experience in the industry with a workplace partner. So for my specific PTech school, it's IBM. And I even met Jason here today. And we met again from our internship this past summer. And so I'm a part of PTech as a dual credit student. This spring, I should be graduating with an associate's degree in computer programming and my high school diploma.
In high school.
And which I also have a final tomorrow. So.
Oh.
And I'm also a part of Student Equity Council and a lot of advocacy programs for education and youth in my community, because a lot of the things that I realized growing up as a first generation student is that our education system doesn't revolve around students, it revolves around curriculum, which is why school has become the need to pass rather than the need to learn. So that's just a couple of things that I'm interested in, and I'm looking forward to a couple of careers in neuroscience and engineering, specifically biomedical, and AI research.
And if anybody wants to hire her tonight, I get a cut. We've already made an agreement that I'm going to take a little finder's fee from you. So we are, at E3 Alliance, we're all about data, and many of you would have seen, and if you didn't, I hope that you get an opportunity to look at some of the posters out there about some of the data that we'll share. But there's one statistic that, if there's nothing else that you remember tonight, I want you to think about, and that's on this very first poster. It's 12%. 12%. If a student in Central Texas does not have some credential beyond high school within 6 years of leaving high school that prepares them for the world of work. It doesn't need to be a 4-year degree. It could be a 4-year degree. It could be a 2-year degree. It could be an industry credential, a certification with value in the marketplace. If they don't have that credential within 6 years of leaving high school, they have a 12% chance of having a living wage job. So all of us who are walking around saying, you know, college is not for everyone, college is a whole variety of pathways. It's a whole variety of opportunities to get where you want to go, but everybody needs a credential beyond high school. Monique, reflect on the 12%. What do you think about that?
Well, one of the things that we've talked about a lot is that I'm very proud to work in a community college where we selectively accept, very proud to work in a community college where we selectively accept the top 100% of our applicants. And because of that, understanding that students come to us, they're not a monolith, they come from across various backgrounds, various demographics, and we know that talent and genius is equally distributed, but opportunity is not. And so one thing that we know is historically, from a hiring perspective, many of the hiring managers, the default has been the pedigree, the bachelor's degree. And so that was just, it made it easier to weed people out, but it also kept very talented people from having opportunities. And so with the talent war that's going on, so many of the companies are having to pivot, and many of the companies are pivoting to skills-based hiring. And I'm excited because it opens up the doors for our students, our scholars, to really show and demonstrate their excellence, their genius, and their brilliance. So I'm really excited because when I think about our partnerships with all of our ISDs, I'm seeing superintendents out here. This work that we do really matters. And it's not just for giggles, but it's really unlocking future, the quality of life for people. And so I know for me, in my family, education was a game changer. It changed our whole family tree. And I know for our students coming through these programs, for many of them, it'll be life-changing as well. So we have a responsibility, a moral responsibility, to really make sure that we remove the barriers that we've imposed. I love what you said. You know, the chatter this week has been about chat and GPT-3. What's that going to mean? And when you really think about it, it should have never been about writing prompts. It should have been about sparking genius,
Right.
and innovation and creativity. So now that we're able to really refocus some of those questions. My desire is that we're able to remove more barriers so more of the people who really want to pursue more additional credentials and degrees can do that.
And can
we can help
succeed
them remove
themselves
them.
and
Absolutely.
be part of that living wage
Yes.
job and part of strengthening our economy. So some of what we're going to talk about today, and you'll see some opportunities, we're going to talk to some experts later, are some relatively new things that are happening in the world between secondary and post-secondary that you may have heard of, may not know a lot about. For instance, dual credit classes, classes where you can take a course in high school and get college credit for it. Things like career tech ed courses that are courses that are not traditionally purely academic, but allow you to prepare for engineering or cosmetology or other things. Industry-based certifications that are actually given by industry, but while a student is in high school. So tell me how you see, Monique, the world changing in high school as you all try to integrate the worlds of high school and post-secondary, because there's now probably 25% of students are getting dual credit classes in high school. I don't know if you all know that. That's a pretty big number, pretty rapid. But Central Texas has a lot fewer than most of the rest of the state.
Well, one thing that I can say is because of the great partnerships that we have, yes, we're doing some amazing things. We have 12 P-TECH schools and 15 pathways through ACC. So with Austin ISD, we have Crockett High School where they have building construction technology, LBJ Early College with pre-health sciences, Northeast Early College with computer information technology, cybersecurity, Navarro Early College with programming and Viscom, Aikens Early College, real estate and education, Travis, hospitality, meeting and
Lots
event
of stuff.
planning, Bastrop, health science, Cedar Creek, advanced manufacturing, Del Valley, computer information technology, cybersecurity and advanced manufacturing. With Elgin, we have welding. With Pflugerville, we have Connolly, cybersecurity, and with Weiss, education instruction. So there's a lot going on, many opportunities for our students. And you know, you're talking about over 200 students at graduation receive their associate's degree.
Which we need to grow.
Well, I'm not arguing, but sometimes
But
we have
it's
to be.
growing. It is growing because
we have
we're
to
doing
give
this.
all of those students credit for earning what they earned.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so get out your phones. Everybody get out your phone. Let's do the first survey question because we've been hearing, we just raised interest rates 0.5% today. We've been hearing about trying to tamp down a recession. Central Texas is always, you know, last in, first out. We hope that we continue that way. Do we have, can we get the survey up? Okay, so if you look at your own company, if you look at what you're hiring, would you say you have plenty of workers in Central Texas right now, you don't care about anything, workforce not an issue? Or you're generally well off, but hey, I could use some workers in particular areas, I'm looking, or geez, guys, we're still seeing that we look over the next few years and we're gonna need people that we don't have.
Go to menti.com and then type in code 3594-2911 to participate.
I think we have a QR code on your table as well that should do that. I didn't bring my clicker. So we got some specific areas. We've got a lot of general needs. Ah, there you go. There's a QR code. That should make it easier if you didn't get all those numbers to type in.
So the QR codes are also on all of the tables?
Yep. Okay, we're going to give you like 10 more seconds because we're going to try to keep this program quick. Okay, let's take a look. What do we got? Results? One organization thinks we're doing okay, 2. But a huge majority still thinks that we need the workforce. And certainly if you look at the numbers, Chamber's here tonight, Workforce Solutions is here tonight. If you look at the numbers, there are thousands of workers that we need projected literally today and certainly over the next year and 5 years. Zarka, I'm going to turn it back to you. You said that you were part of this P-TECH opportunity to learn career skills and get an associate's degree in high school. Why are you doing that? What do you think this is going to give you an opportunity that you wouldn't have gotten already other than studying a curriculum that's not about you?
Well, apart from that, there's honestly, when I was first going into P-TECH, I honestly just wanted the internship. And that's how I was kind of persuaded through my manager, was that, oh, you get an internship with IBM. And I was like, oh, like, you know, as a low-income student from an area where the education isn't geared towards you, I also had to, you know, help my family, had to focus on, you know, how I was going to make a living after I graduated. And so for me, it was the IBM part that got me hooked in. But now looking back and like seeing all the opportunities that I had the ability to take part of, it honestly influenced my education a lot more than I could imagine, especially because our education system is built around making students into workers. So like helping them not really helping them get a job and do their taxes and, you know, become an adult, but getting them to know specifics about specific subjects so that they can get a degree that says that they are qualified to do this, but it doesn't teach them how to do it. And so this past summer, I had an internship with IBM in the Austin building, and it was a 6-week internship, and we met with students and IBMers across the US through WebEx, and we worked on a cybersecurity platform problem. So one of the most important lessons I achieved from that was that workplace integration before I even go out into the workplace. And honestly, like, saying that your first job was an internship with IBM is pretty cool.
Doesn't hurt. Finder's fee, just saying.
But yeah.
So obviously this new way of doing things that really integrates rapidly, stackable opportunities, is different than what we've done where we had these separate sectors. Monique, talk a little more about how, again, there are other institutions of higher education, but ACC is a starting place for many of these students. How are you working together differently with industry partners and with higher education partners and secondary partners to put these things together?
Absolutely. So it starts, I love the example that she just gave. It starts before we ever open the door. When we look at the curriculum, I know Garrett's in the room, as he has been our main liaison, for example, with Tesla.
Right.
We make sure that there's not a single program that we create, not a single pathway that we create that has not been vetted by our industry partners, our regional advisory committees, because we understand our students can't afford to get out and have skills that are stale. So we vet all of our curriculum with our industry partners to ensure that it's meeting their needs, not just today, but try to be as proactive as possible. So our industry partners have been great. They host tours, they serve as mentors. Some of them, we always, that's always my first question, do you have any employees that would like to serve as adjuncts? Because we like to have faculty members that have relevant work experience, that are able to share with the students, this is what's going on in the world today, to share those perspectives. I mentioned the tours. Even one of our, I guess, great, if I had a green screen, I would ask our industry partners as often as possible for us to do what they call externships or reverse
Right.
internships,
Right.
where we have our faculty come and spend time with you. So, you know, when people say they used to work in industry, I say there's a shelf life on that. Because if you worked in industry in the 70s, the norms and work cultures are not the same as they are now. So we want to ensure that the curriculum and the opportunities that we're providing for our students are relevant. So we have so many industry partners here tonight. I'm thankful for you all coming out. But it starts with being lockstep in alignment to make sure that we're providing the skills that they need today, and not just going on our own whims or any pet projects or pet curriculum or anything like that.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about equity, because we have huge swaths of our community that have not traditionally had the opportunity to receive the services, the skills, the chances that they need to be part of the productive workforce that we need. We hope to be changing that, but if we look, for instance, at the dual credit classes, while they're growing rapidly, students from not low-income households are taking more dual credit courses than students from low-income households, when in fact the whole intent is to provide them opportunities at free of charge in high school to get that early experience and become a rapid part of the workforce. What is it that we're doing to try to improve and broaden the workforce opportunities for all of our students?
I think it's multifaceted. So I started off with the list of the PTECs, and you talked about dual credit, but we've been very intentional as we work with our ISD partners to stand up dual credit pathways, the PTECs, those high growth, high wage career pathways, to try to do those in areas to give easier access to students who may not have come from the highest socioeconomic areas. Again, understanding that talent is equally distributed, but making sure that we give people high growth, high wage opportunities in ways that are accessible. So we'll start there. Another thing is exposure early. One of the things you'll see tonight is our Make It Center. So we want to make sure, a lot of times people pick careers based on what they know, what they see, what they've been exposed to around them. We want to make sure that all of our students get an opportunity to explore, and not just looking at a website,
Right.
but hands-on. You know, you've heard about,
this
you know,
really doing?
for a lot of people, it's very intimidating if you think you want to major in engineering, but you don't really know what an engineer does, and you don't want to tell anybody that because it's a little embarrassing. Taking that shame away and giving people hands-on opportunity to explore careers. That's what you'll find in the Make It Center. So exposure, opportunity, access. Another thing is affordability. We understand textbook costs are a barrier for
Right.
many of our dual credit students. So we're working on continuing to increase the access for our open educational resources, or OER. Since we started our OER work, the estimates that we have is our students have saved over $12.4 million in textbook costs. So we're not satisfied where we are, but we're continuing to grow that and make those resources easier to access for the faculty so that we can have a wider adoption of our OER resources.
Perfect.
Another thing is, as we work with our ISD partners, to continue to remove barriers. I know all of our superintendents have been amazing as we work on TSI readiness to make sure that we have as many students as we can.
Texas Student Success
Sorry about that.
Initiative, that's a test to show that you're college ready.
So we want to make sure that, again, all the students that express a need and want to, we're trying to remove the barriers that we know about that prevent them from being able to pursue those career opportunities.
So barriers.
Barriers.
Barriers, Zarka, you've very soon successfully navigated this, but you have friends, I'm sure, that may have been interested or not interested, may have had cultural experiences or family income or barriers at home that made it difficult to take advantage of some of these new models, new designs. What do you see with students that are making it difficult to move into this world of more rapid integrated workforce development?
I think that one of the main obstacles is financial based, but that doesn't cover all of it. I mentioned that I'm from a low-income neighborhood, and that the majority of the kids that go to my high school are minorities. And so we all have different needs, one of them being financial aid and just that mutual support. But in terms of the actual support system of helping them obtain these amazing opportunities is having a system that's built around the resources that they need and what else they need. Because when COVID hit, there was so much that went on, and it wasn't even just students, it was educators, it was teachers, it was everyone. But to me, that was when it first hit me. And I realized this too, is that our technology has advanced so much since a century ago. Like so much, it's incredible how much it has evolved. But if we look back to our education system, which
Looks
should
a
be
lot the same.
yeah, it's astonishing how same it is and how it hasn't improved much, especially after seeing all these technological advancements. We use a software, I believe, called Blend for our online classes and putting in our classwork and everything. We never used that when I was in middle school because COVID didn't hit, And so that integration is one of the most key components of getting students involved, besides just the financial aid, but telling them how to do it, helping them walk through that process, helping them have access to mentors who are once in their position or who they can relate to. For me, since I was a first-generation student, I was like super interested into P-Tech, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, I want to be able to get my associate's degree. But I also had the dilemma of the pathway being 4 to 6 years. So it didn't necessarily mean I would get my associate's degree when I graduate high school.
Right.
So I had to literally sit down and plan all of my 4 years coming up in like freshman year, and be like, okay, so in the summer I'm gonna take these 3 classes. So then in the fall I can take XYZ classes, so that I could graduate not on time, but I can graduate when I graduate high school with an associate's degree rather than after.
And we're working on that
right
now to make that model even better for you. So yeah.
And as I was mentioning, like as being a part of the guinea pigs and being like the ones who are being experimented on, especially as a student perspective, in this career field, it can be an advantage and a disadvantage at times. And for me specifically, what I've needed or what my friends have needed has drastically been different because, yes, we're both minorities, but we need different support in terms of different help. So I'm a very tech-based person. I'd like to say I'm tech-savvy. I have friends who are not, And so when teachers and students start with this idea of, oh, they should have this base level knowledge, it's like we need to test where students have this base level knowledge because not everyone's on an equal playing field. And that's where the equity portion comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so pretty soon we're going to send you back to some experts so that you can hear more about some of these new models, some of these opportunities that are out there. One of them that I want to mention is called the Make It Movement. We talked about the Make It Center upstairs, which is the physical manifestation. The Make It Movement is an opportunity to use marketing as a force of good to try to help expose students to career opportunities that they may not know about or may not understand, that give them the opportunity to do something that they love that also can earn them a living. How do you feel like students, Zarka, understand what's out there? You may not have, as Monique said, a next door neighbor who's an engineer. You may not know what that really is. How is it that you start to understand what are the opportunities out there if you want to go to Tesla or IBM or work for Project Transit or whatever it is?
So for me, in middle school, I had no idea what I was doing. I'm gonna be honest. People would be asking me like, "Oh, what are you interested in?" And I'm like, I don't know. So my brother was diagnosed with autism around the age of 10, I believe. And that's what sparked my interest into neurodiversity and neuroscience. So I had this, this connection to my family about my personal interests. but I didn't know anyone who was in the neurodiversity field. I didn't know anyone from the neuroscience or like a health field. So contacting that person or trying to get more information in middle school was very hard,
Right.
especially because when you're in an environment where all your peers are your challengers, you kind of feel like you can't ask them for help or support. And I've faced that a lot of times, that dilemma of being scared to come up and ask questions. But what changed for me in freshman year was when I entered P-Tech. I realized that if I wanted to find out who I needed to talk to or what I truly do like doing, I had to be the one to take that first step forward. So I started reaching out to IBM mentors, to people who had interesting jobs that looked interesting, that's something that I could do in the future. I remember reaching out to this one person and I never got a reply. And I was like, oh my God, I think they hate me. Turns out they had an accident and they were in the ER. So like sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But for me, I would say the main objective that P-Tech has done to prepare me is give me that opportunity to explore. Because before P-Tech, I didn't have this connection of mentors. I didn't know like all these people that I could talk to.
Right.
There's only so many people that you can get based off of connections, which is why networking is so important when you get into high school. And I know in high school they stress a lot about finding what you're truly passionate about. But there's also like disparities where certain schools have certain programs. So if I'm interested in culinary and I go to Navarro, we don't have a culinary program. So there isn't a way for me to actually like explore that. So that's the way that I started off with
But I'm interested tying those two things together, because one of the things that we invited you all here to think about is what can we do as industry leaders? How can we connect? And part of what I'm hearing from Monique and Zarka both is it shouldn't all be on the student, right? As industry leaders, if we're looking to build the workforce that we need, how do we expose students to what these opportunities are? How do we help them learn? How do we help them understand what can happen so that we can have, I'm going to say them again, rapid opportunities to move from education to the workforce world with the credentials you need to not be part of the 12%. Integrated with education and industry working together to co-design the solutions, and stackable so that it's not a single endpoint, but it's how do you grow to whatever it is that you have the opportunity to be successful, to love what you're doing, to be passionate. So we're gonna transition in a minute here to other people that can tell you about some more of the specific things that we're talking about. There's a whole area back there. Well, first of all, there's a whole area up here where there's lots of data, because we love data. So if you haven't put your dots on a board or want to learn more or want to talk to people about, we have some great data at E3 that predicts things like, if I took 6 dual credit classes, how much is that going to change my opportunity to get a 4-year college degree versus if I took 18 dual credit classes, or if I took career tech ed in this area. So a lot of that data is over there. We're going to have some experts there, but we've also got experts in the back that are talking about some of these opportunities that your company could take part in to help build the industry that you need. So one of those is a P-Tech table. We've talked about P-Tech a number of times, which is where you have the opportunity to get career-based learning, internships, job shadows, and an associate's degree while in high school. Far too few students taking that. We really need to ramp that up. We need to make it better. We need more and better industry partners to help that. But Kreslin Fannin with AISD, and there she is, and others are going to be part of that P-Tech table. And then we've got Workforce Solutions. You want to talk? Where is it? Amber's, there we go. So we've got Workforce Solutions. Many of you are familiar with Workforce Solutions Capital Area. Workforce Solutions Capital Area is in charge of helping both employers and workers understand where the opportunities are. How can I access that training if I didn't get before? How can I upskill if I'm an adult and want to change positions because I see that there's this job out there in advanced manufacturing that I have an opportunity to? I see healthcare careers, oh my goodness. We have so many things that we need that we can provide the opportunity. So Workforce Solutions is here talking about some of the opportunities that they are funded by the federal government and locally to help our students access. We have My Texas Future, which is a program that's put on by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board that's the gold standard for how do we advise and counsel students so that they can start to understand what are the opportunities out there. If I don't have the next door neighbor who's an engineer, how do I understand this? How do I access it? What courses do I need to take, especially if I'm sitting down my freshman year and realize that I've got to plan everything out for the next 5 years? How do I prepare myself to do that? So Laura Brennan is back there. We have the Make It movement I talked about, which is using marketing as a force for good to help expose students to careers that they may not know have real opportunity. How much does your plumber make? A ton of money. And there are a lot of students out there that really want to be plumbers, and that's what they are passionate about and want to do and may not understand how to get there. How do we expose them to opportunities that, again, can be anywhere along this aligned continuum? So you can see the Make It movement. You talked a little bit about the Make It Center. That's the physical manifestation. It's not open yet officially, is it, Janelle?
Janelle?
It's not officially open, so you're getting an early sneak preview.
Sneak peek tour.
It's a sneak peek tour, so you can go up. It's right here in this building. You can go up and you can see what students and families will be able to say, you know, I'm very interested in cybersecurity, but what the heck is it? And they can expose you to some virtual reality, to some experiential learning. You, again, as industry, can be part of that. You can come in and you can provide tours and information and invite people to your campuses so that they understand what the Make It Center might be. Austin Chamber, there we go. Austin Chamber has been working for a number of years on an area called DTC 70, Direct to College 70. How do we get more students to understand that if they move directly from high school to some post-secondary pathway, it can be a 4-year degree, it can be a master's or PhD, it can be a 2-year degree, it can be a whole variety of things, but if they move directly, they have the opportunity to get credentials quicker, to be a valuable part of your workforce and to earn a living, and they're doing some great work. On summer melt especially, there's a huge number of students that in May plan to go to college and life happens and they never show up at Texas State, and we as a community need to make that more accessible and more direct. Austin Community College has some tables back here where they can talk to you. We didn't bring everything. Who's not been in this building before?
First time?
It's pretty amazing, huh? It's pretty amazing what Austin Community College has done in this building, but we couldn't fit everybody in here. But we've got a few of their departments back there in computer science and some other areas, and they can give you some experiences about what's happening at Austin Community College, including some 4-year degrees that didn't used to exist just 2 years ago.
Advanced manufacturing, cybersecurity, cybersecurity is coming. Advanced manufacturing, software development, nursing, and what did I miss? Software development. I thought I started with that one. Okay. All right.
So you can see. So you can see some of those opportunities and what's happening there. Impact Lab, we've got a second set of tours. So again, talk to everybody, but if you want to move around a little bit, go up and see the Make It Center. The Impact Lab is all about the advanced manufacturing. It's where students can work on 3D printers and oscilloscopes and have opportunities to learn right here some of the tools and experiences that they would need in advanced manufacturing. And then we've also got ABJ here. I didn't see Colin. Where is he? Oh, there you are. Because, a number of you have information, have questions, may want to talk to the media about what do we see in these opportunities for economic development, for building our industry. So please talk to ABJ and help us kind of ideate and help us get the word out there, help us work together so that those in the business and industry leaders will understand that there's a lot going on. We're not where we need to be. We are not where we need to be. But we are building towards that, and by working together, I think that we can do that, and that's our opportunity tonight, is to think about how to work together. So one more survey question, get out your phone and be thinking about what is it that you believe, is it coming up here? Oh wow, some people have already answered it. Okay. So if you want to build the best workforce together, if we want to have an integrated workforce that can accelerate opportunities for students to be part of the workforce that you need and that you can be involved, what would you do over the coming months or years? So this is just a question to keep in your mind as you're talking to people around the expo tonight and figuring out what it is that you want to be involved in. Zarka, I always like to have the student have the last word. Any final reflections about what these damn adults could do to make it easier for you to be part of the future that we need here in Central Texas?
I would say that one of the key information about education is students. It's centered around students. But there are also different types of learning patterns in these students. Some people are auditory learners, some people are visual learners. I myself am a kinesthetic learner. I like doing hands-on experiments to understand. So the best way to be able to cater to these students would be to talk to the students individually and have a adaptable plan for each one of them. Not a one-size-fits-all, but one where students can say for themselves that this is what works for me, and for you to be be able to adapt it. And I've been, I believe last month, yes, it was last month, I went to New Mexico for a social emotional learning summit, and I talked to a couple of district leaders as well as a couple of students and staff from across America talking about how they are implementing social emotional learning into their schools, because the main aspect of learning is not for you to pass all your AP classes or to pass all your dual credit classes. It's to learn what you are truly passionate about. And if it's not AP music theory, that's okay, you know? So for me, it took me a really long time to understand that the pressure and the peer pressure around me doesn't define who I'm going to be after I graduate high school, and that just because it's recommended for me to take an AP class, taking an ecosystems class would be more beneficial for me because I'm looking for a career in that class. And so encouraging, growth about yourself, growth about who you are as a person, as well as tying that into our future, such as like taxes and learning about how to be an adult. I've been an adult for 2 months. It's not been pleasant. So, I mean, preparing students for
It's overrated.
Definitely.
It's overrated.
And so learning, like, taking students on that journey, on that path, and getting them started is like the best thing as a mentor, as a teacher, as a supporter that we can do as a community.
But as a community, I think that's the key thing that we would like you all to take away from tonight is, as a community, we have tremendous opportunities in Central Texas. It's a region that we love. It's an economic, development wonder. It is something that we have to work on, affordability. There's a lot that we have to work on, but there are such huge blessings that we have as a community that we need to take advantage of. We need to work together, we need to integrate, we need to help build the workforce where all of the students can be part of that, where we can grow our own. And that's what we hope that you will take tonight is, what is it that we all can do together as a community to help improve our future for our students and for ourselves as an organization. So I'm going to invite you, please grab another glass of wine if you'd like, grab some wonderful food from ACC, visit the experts in the back there, take one of the tours to the Impact Center or the Make It Center, talk to those of you who are peers here. We're going to follow up with everyone. So if you say, hey, I heard about that Navarro IBM High School, but I want to know who to follow up, You can contact us if you heard about, hey, how does Houston Tillotson fit in this? If I want a stackable degree, that's where my nephew is. So we'll help follow you up on all of that stuff. You all get ideas, ideate, and let's make this happen together. Thank you for being here.